But yeah, people think, oh well, they're in charge of the labeling, so it must be okay. I mean, that's the psychology of it. They automatically think the problem is taken care of because there's a government label on it. It's that simple. But yeah, back to the article. It also talks about neotame is being used as a sweetener on nasty meat for factory cattle, basically. So they're all eating Sweetos, they call it, which is such a cute and a marketable name. I mean, Sweetos. How can cows not want to eat Sweetos? But honestly, they should call it a rotten food with poisonous chemicals on it. Rotten meat, nasty meat with deadly chemicals sprayed all over it. It's awesome. And there's this thing called bioaccumulation, where if they're eating neotame all the time, it's going to accumulate in their bodies, and then when they go to the butcher block, and then you're eating your steak or whatever, it's going to have neotame in it, just like that. They got you just like that. It's called war against the food supply. No one ever talks about that, even though it's obvious. Well, people do talk about it over here in the truther movement, but most people other than that don't at all. I mean, it's insane. And it's brand new, so no one believes anything about it because people aren't having cancer all over the place. I mean, they are, but compared to the way it's going to be after this has been going on for 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, let's just see how stupid it gets. Now, let's not even talk about cell phones, too. This is going to be cancer out the ass in the future, and all of that stuff, and it's all related. It's all about eugenics, basically. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. And the poor cows, I mean, the poor cows are just like the factory situation. That's how you know the USDA and the FDA are full of crap, that they support this factory farm environment, which is completely anti-human and like anti-nature even. You know what I'm saying? It's completely ridiculous, and it's only because the government can prop up these corporations to produce these massive operations. That's why we got to decentralize power, and hopefully the factory farms will be decentralized and we can go back to local and stuff. So it's all about getting rid of that status psychology. The state props up the corporation, definitely. But back to the subject. I mean, about factory farming and like neotame and aspartame and fluoride and GMOs and all this just makes me want to get land out in the country, and find like a water well, my own water, my own purifiers, get my own chickens, you know what I'm saying? Learn how to grow my own garden, and maybe hunt for deer or whatever, and just figure it out and have my own food. That's what I want to do after learning about all this poison in the food supply. I mean, it's a great way to be a revolutionary too, but I mean, just like in a self-preservation kind of sense, like, oh my God, I have to be in charge of all my food. Now, of course, it's going to be a long time before I can do anything like that, and I just have to work at it. But we'll get to solutions in a moment. Let's talk about Monsanto for a little bit. The article gets into Monsanto and how corrupt and evil it is, and just all the bad stuff they're into, and everything they've ever done is completely demonic and earth destroying and life destroying. And holy cow, the government supports them and everything they do, and I can't believe it. But once again, Monsanto is just one of those corporations that are given rights of personhood and no liability and completely stupid laws that wouldn't stand in a completely free society where there was competition and free association and sound money and all that stuff. These corporations would not exist, I don't think, because it takes a system as corrupt as the state to to produce, or spawn, I should say, to spawn something like Monsanto. I mean, it just seems like a natural progression to me. But it is completely revolting and terrible. But Monsanto didn't just magically get all this power on its own. No, its power came from the government, because that's what the government is there for. You know what I'm saying? The government is like for the power, and the corporations are for the money and the profit and stuff. But it takes the power to do the rest. And you know, it might not be that black and white and, you know, egg before the chicken or whatever, but I think essentially the state is the root because of taxation, you know, and monopoly. And Monsanto doesn't have that. Monsanto does not have taxation and monopoly power, but it uses the state's monopoly on those things to benefit itself at the expense of all the rest of us. And without the state, without taxes and monopolies on cops and militaries and courts and all that, I'm just convinced that it just wouldn't be possible for something like Monsanto or all the rest of the big nasty corporations out there to even reign supreme the way they do nowadays. But yeah, I was also thinking about how in the old drug war propaganda commercials, where they'd say like, "This is your brain on drugs," and he's like frying an egg or whatever, and like, oh, they're so worried that you knew like the dangers of doing illegal drugs like cocaine, marijuana. Oh my gosh, they hyped it up and had all these media campaigns, you know, that because they are so worried about your health. But when it comes to other stuff that does destroy your brain for real, like aspartame and now Neotame, they put it in diet sodas and tell you that, you know, it's gonna make you happy and solve all your problems. So it's just another example of how corrupt the system is. I mean, it's just the way it is, you know. But maybe it'll get so corrupt that people will start waking up massively. Now, apparently people have been waking up pretty hardcore ever since 9/11, which is great. But more and more people need, I bet when everyone starts getting cancer and shit, people are gonna wake up hardcore. Like the last people who haven't woke up yet, when they notice that everyone has cancer or diabetes or heart disease or something, they'll start to wonder. Or when they're like 400 pounds, lift that one up too. Maybe that'll wake them up. But it hasn't been so far. I don't know, man. I guess we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. Of course, people are going to keep waking up. There's not going to be a point where people stop waking up, so that's a good thing. Definitely. But just like closing this out, these are my solutions. Just for me personally. You have to come to your solutions yourself. And of course, a lot of us like-minded may have a lot of similar kind of solutions. But for me, this is basically my solutions for me personally. It's forsake fast food and soda. First things first. Obviously, that stuff is poison. It's like cream of the crop of poison, soda and fast food. And then after that, minimize and eventually eliminate processed food intake. Definitely. I'm no angel, I'm no perfectionist, so there's no way I'll be able to make this transition overnight. So I'll start off by minimizing it, and then eventually, hopefully, eliminating it. In the meantime, I'm going to learn how to garden. You know, I'm going to learn how to live off the land. Those are new subjects of interest. You know, I like to get my own land, like I said earlier, raise my own chickens. You know, my own vegetables and herbs, and participate in farmers markets and keep it as local as possible, and just keep raising awareness about this, because this is insane, guys. It's just retarded. But yeah, I guess that about sums it up. I hope you learned something about Neotame. We gotta expose this crap because this organic industry is going in, it's a step in the right direction. And the more organic stuff people see on the shelves, hopefully the more they buy it. So let's nip this Neotame thing in the bud. Let's do what we can. So share this or whatever. I mean, I know I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but share this or whatever, and give me some feedback and let me know what you think about this stuff. And take it easy, and thanks for watching.